For a lot of people, childhood wasn't exactly that protected, safe space we all imagine. It was a time when the line between being a kid and being an adult got really blurry, and sometimes it just disappeared. If you feel like you stepped into grown up shoes way too early, then this is for you.
And man, this quote it really hits home, doesn't it? Growing up too fast usually isn't some big, single event. It's more like a slow fade, a gradual shift from playing to taking on responsibilities. And it often happens so quietly that nobody, not even you, really notices what's being lost along the way. Okay, so before we dive in, I want to make something really clear. This is not about pointing fingers or blaming anyone or anything. What we're really talking about here is the psychology of survival, how a young, developing brain brilliantly figures out how to adapt and handle pressure it was never, ever meant to carry. All right, so let's get into the first set of traits. And it helps to think of these as a kind of a suit of armor. These are the protective strategies that get built in childhood, but they're often carried right on into adult life. So this one is really the bedrock of it all. Maybe you had to be the family peacemaker or the emotional support for a parent. Maybe you were in charge of the house or your younger siblings. When that happens, your whole sense of self gets wrapped up in being useful, in being responsible. And believe it or not, there's actually a name for this, parentification. And for so many people, just hearing that word for the first time is, wow, it's so validating. It's a confirmation that what you went through is a real, recognized psychological pattern. It wasn't just helping out, it was a complete role reversal. And of course, that kind of early responsibility, it leads right into our next trait. I mean, if you learned really young that other people might not meet your needs or that asking for help just made you a burden, what are you going to do? You learn to do it all yourself. So this isn't some choice you made to be independent. No way. It's a survival strategy baked in from day one. Okay, so let's shift gears a bit, because all of this builds into this really fascinating internal conflict. On the outside, you might seem like you have it all together, but inside, well, there's usually a very different story going on. And this right here, this is the real paradox at the heart of it all. On the outside, you can handle anything, right? A complex job, a huge crisis, you're at the rock for everybody. But inside, when it comes to your own feelings, your own needs, it can feel like you're just a kid, totally lost. And that's what creates this split. On one side, you've got this hyper-competent adult, the one the rest of the world sees. But on the other side, there's this hidden child who just never got the chance to, be a kid. And these two selves are in this constant, quiet tug-of-war. So I want you to just sit with this question for a second. If the very idea of just doing nothing for an afternoon fills you with this weird anxiety or even guilt, then our next point is probably going to hit pretty close to home. See, here's the thing. If your nervous system was basically trained in childhood to always be on high alert for the next crisis, what do you think happens when things are calm? As an adult, relaxation doesn't feel relaxing. It can actually feel dangerous because your body is still scanning the horizon, looking for the next fire to put out. So where does this all lead? Well, it leads us to the emotional cost. Because that armor we talked about, it is heavy. And it has a huge impact on how you relate to your own needs and to the feelings of the people around you. I mean, really think about it. You're completely overwhelmed, you're drowning in stuff to do, but does the idea of actually asking someone for help feel almost impossible? Like it's just easier to struggle through it all alone? Well, this is exactly why. If, as a kid, your needs were brushed off or made to feel like an inconvenience, you don't just forget that. You internalize it. So now, as an adult, just having a need for rest, for comfort, for help can trigger this deep, deep guilt, like you're doing something wrong just by being human. And our last one, this is such a fascinating adaptation. You basically developed a superpower, right? The ability to walk into a room and instantly read everyone's mood. It was a survival tool. You needed to anticipate what others wanted and to keep the peace. But here's the catch. It's a one-way street. That empathy becomes a shield to manage everyone else while your own feelings stay locked down, safe and sound. Okay, so when we step back and look at the whole picture, it's pretty clear these aren't just 6 random quirks, right? This is a deeply connected pattern. It's a blueprint for survival. You can see how they all connect. It starts with that early responsibility, which forces you into survival independence. That creates the split maturity. The capable adult on the outside, the hidden child on the inside. And that leads to uneasy rest because your system is always on, which of course brings on guilt for needing anything. And that final treat, guarded empathy, which is more about protecting yourself than truly connecting. And look, if there's one thing you take away from all this, let it be this. These are not flaws, they're not weaknesses. They are a testament to how resilient you are. They are brilliant, creative adaptations that helped a child get through a tough situation. That strength everyone sees in you, it is absolutely real, but it came at a hidden cost.
So I'll just leave you with this thought. This isn't about erasing your past. How could you? It's about making peace with it. Knowing what you know now, what's one tiny, small thing you can do just for yourself that feels like play or rest or just freedom? What's one little way you can finally honor that kid inside who learned how to be an adult so well?